true believers. Welcome back to the web, which one might argue looks a bit like a comic book shop to you, which is great because today's video we're taking a look at the Spider-Man interactive comic book. This came out sometime in the 90s. Kind of around that era, Marvel was really trying to push like digital comic books and kind of trying to sell them to people in any way that they could. A lot of times they were just comic books, on a disc. I have one that's from FYE, which is a entertainment store. But earlier on, they maybe were getting a little more kind of creative with it, trying to kind of figure it out before I think they realized just it wasn't gonna really work. But for a while there, in the kind of probably mid 90s to kind of the early 2000s, they were really trying to put those comic books out digitally in any way they could. They had a partnership with AOL, and they had launched a website where you could do it. They kind of did this. Yeah, they did a really big push. They were trying to go digital, basically. They really thought that that was going to be kind of the future. And to some degree, several years later, that definitely became the case, with the Marvel Unlimited app. But back in that day, it clearly didn't really catch on. And that's that's what this is. Now, Fudge Burger has a video on their channel kind of going over this and showing everything that's on here. I watched a little bit of it, which is how I found out about this and got really curious and wanted to try it for myself. Much to my dismay, finding out that the files to run this aren't available anywhere on the internet that I could find. I found one website that supposedly had it, but you needed to pay for an subscription just to download it in a speed that was reasonable. It would have taken me 2 days to download it for free from that website. And the only reason I was doing that is because I really didn't want to open this. This didn't cost me a lot of money. It cost me less than $20, but I really wanted to keep it shrink wrapped and sealed. But for the sake of getting to experience it and show it off to you guys, I'm going to open it because, like I said, there is no place seemingly where you can just get the files to experience this. Now, I understand getting it to run might be a little difficult, but I've gotten older CDs or just as old CDs to run on my computer fine, so I think I'll be okay. And then once I have the files, I would like to ideally share them with you guys so you can check this out for yourself. Because as great as Fudge Burger's channel is, and as much as I love that they put out kind of forgotten Spider-Man media or content or lost content, I admittedly get very annoyed that they don't share those digital assets because it's not real preservation if you are harboring those assets. So it kind of annoys me. I don't like that. If you're trying to preserve media, then you need to share it with other people so that so it doesn't become lost again down the line. Putting up a video on YouTube and being like, look at this thing, isn't in true spirit of preservation. That's just you to me after certain to me that's just gloating. Look at this thing that I found or I have access to, when it doesn't hurt you to share that asset with others. Not necessarily, especially if it's old and nobody's gonna come after you. So anyways, I'm gonna get off my soapbox and we're gonna take a look at this Spider-Man interactive CD-ROM comic book, which is voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes, the 90s Spider-Man. So in a way, it's kind of like a lost 90s animated Spider-Man episode, which is very exciting. So, kind of on the front here, pretty basic, but there is a lot of text to get through. It says, sense-shattering first issue. Now, I'm pretty positive that this is a pre-existing comic book. This isn't an original thing designed just for this. But again, this is implying that Marvel was wanting to really push this format and really do things with it. And I don't believe they ever did another one after this. But this would have been really, really cool for kids, and this would have been great if it had caught on, because, like, again, it's kind of like just like a whole secret little episode of the '94 Spider-Man, because it is, again, read by Christopher Daniel Barnes. It also says here over 800 pages of authentic comic book action. Again, from what I remember, this is a comic book that's been released before, so that makes sense. It says Spider-Man guides you through the story. So, like I said, it is voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes. Back issue reference. I'm not 100% sure what that is. I think that just means that you can reference some of the back issues, but they maybe aren't read. Real Marvel animation. I'm not I think they intercut maybe some animations from the animated series. Maybe that's what they're referring to in there. Or maybe there's like trailers or something for it. And then it says Marvelous Game of Trivia. So yeah, it says works on Mac and IBM systems. So I don't know. Maybe we won't get it to work actually, now that I think about it. But I guess we'll find out. Yeah, so CD-ROM comic book kind of has a few of the comics displayed. Taking a look at the back, it kind of shows you that they did do other versions, same premise, all of which have kind of animated shows. So it has the X-Men there, it has this Spider-Man one listed, which is kind of funny. It's got the Fantastic Four and Iron Man. Again, all had animated shows in the 90s, so that makes sense. It is kind of funny that Hulk isn't listed there. So I wonder kind of why, because Hulk also had an animated show, and Hulk was one of the bigger comic books in the 90s. But yeah, you kind of see some different screens. Honestly, the text is too small for me to read with the mask on. And then you kind of have, what is this? Kind of gives you a little blurb of the back here, as well as your system requirements. And that's really about it. It's kind of about what you would expect from one of these things. Kind of got a few promotional images for the content, advertisements for the others within the line, their little logo, and then yeah, kind of like the blurb about the sales pitch, so to speak, for the product. Aside, kind of more or less, it displays really wonderfully. So yeah, I'll crack this open and we will see how it looks on the inside, because I'm curious to see what the physical components are. Okay, I got it. So this this was a pain to get out of there. The packaging definitely was not designed to be saved. That is for sure. I've done my best to keep it as salvaged as possible, but basically the disc was glued down to the back, and then the insert that it was glued to kind of keep the space, so to keep it kind of positioned, was also kind of glued to the inside. So I did my best. I don't know how well it's going to display after this, unfortunately, but they are still available on eBay. So for, like, is it less than $20? Sealed still. So I'll probably try and get my hands on another one of these, and maybe I'll give away this one to one of you guys in the future for a giveaway or something. So inside, like I said, not a lot outside the disc. There is a kind of typical mail-in order that you get with, or that you got with a lot of products back in the 90s. And then the Marvel CD-ROM Comics installation instructions, which ironically, when I was younger, probably never would have read. Now, as an adult, especially when you're trying to run old hardware or old ROMs, I find this might actually be super useful. Otherwise, that is about it. It is a simple CD jewel case with the disc in it, pretty much. The disc is the artwork of the packaging. So, yeah, reading the back blurb, like I said, there's actually 2 issues in here. and it covers the Goblin stories, the introduction of the Hobgoblin. So, yeah, all right, I'm going to try and fire this up on my computer. Um, I don't know if that's going to work. If it does work, then, you know, you're about to see it right here, and I'm about to talk you through it as a disembodied voice. If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to record an outro at a later date. So, um, you know, yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is like 2 days later, but I did finally get it set up. I will do, if people are interested, leave a comment down below. I'll show you how to get it running, because there's like 2 ways to do it. One of them's a little more involved, but we'll get it running the proper way, and the other way we'll just get it running. Short story, you either can use this OT VDM to get it running, but not perfectly, but it'll run and it'll be able to play the comic just fine. Or you can use DOCSBox, which is what I'm using, which is a much more involved process, and basically creates a emulator, because this application is designed to run with Windows 3, 3.1, and the farthest back that Windows 10 can run something is Windows 95, so not quite far enough back to get this operating. And because I wanted the true full experience, I just decided to go through the process of getting DOSBox kind of set up and installed and everything. It's not super complicated. There's great tutorials on YouTube, but if you want me to create one for you guys, so you can kind of run and play this thing yourself, because like I said, I will supply the files through my Google Drive, but you'll need something to actually like run it with, unless you have an old school computer that's set up running Windows 3, which is crazy if you do. So, all right, go over here to DOSBox and we will launch it. I already test launched it. I already installed it, as you can see. So I know it works, but yeah, I haven't really got to kind of like experience it yet. Whoops. Alright, we are in. Turn this down a little bit. Wasn't sure how loud it was gonna be. There we go. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, alright. Alright. Alright, so here we have the guide. This will not play unless you, in the cheap way. So yeah, this video, oh, it's gonna eject us back. So the intro video
is one of those things that won't play unless you're like on a proper emulator because it runs QuickTime, and QuickTime stopped being supported on Windows like a long time ago. This program also was created for Mac. So if you aren't running this through DOSBox or some other system, um, that won't work. But from what I can tell, everything else does. Um, so yeah, we have over here we have character bios, which are kind of cool. Everything runs just as slow as it would on an actual hardware. Oh, maybe not. There we go. So you have these character bios, which is kind of cool. I think when I ran this before in the non DOS box, when I was, like I said, just trying to get this to run in the simplest way possible, it didn't even have music playing. Different track for everyone. That's kind of cool. A classmate of Peter Parker's in college. Gwen Stacy dated his friend Harry Osborn during the time that Parker was first seeing Mary Jane Watson. Later, Parker and Stacy fell deeply in love. Their happiness ended suddenly when she was pushed off the bridge and killed by the Green Goblin. That's some great artwork and stuff. So yeah, so that's basically all of those. I'm not going to go through every single one of these just because it's a bit kind of redundant, but it gives you like the general idea of what these are about. Go to trivia. Okay. What does the Hobgoblin steal from the Osborne plant in New Jersey? Green Goblin's armored jet glider, Green Goblin's armored battle van, Green Goblin, the new and improved super glider, new and improved Goblin stun bombs. I think it's 3. Oh no, Green Goblin's armored battle van. Really? Okay, I wonder if that's in this issue or the issues that are on here. That's what it seems like. Who first discovers the late Green Goblin's secret lair? The Hobgoblin, Spider-Man, a thug named Georgie, Lance Bannon. It's gotta be Hob. It is a thug named Georgie. Okay. How did the Goblin obtain the secret formula that drove him insane? He tapped into the Fantastic Four's computers. He stole secret notes from Bruce Banner. He bought it from an unknown informant. He stole it from the former business partner. I almost feel like it's gotta be Bruce Banner related. I know that's crazy. I should know these things, but I am not. I was not reading Spider-Man around this era. No, it's got to be simple. Oh, he stole it from his former. Okay, that was my first guess. Okay, so that's cool. So yeah, it seems like I think all of these are based off the included comics. So I'm not gonna go through the whole read comic thing just because like that's a lot to put in this video. However, by the way, there is a jump to. You just type in your page number once you open this, and then it'll open it. So that's what this is. I've already tested that. And this guide kind of just tells you how everything works. But I will open it, and I'll kind of show a few of the pages and things. But I'm going to do a whole separate video of the actual sort of comic and things. Like an actual like read through. I'll record that separately and upload it separately. I'm very excited. I've seen some of this, but I have not seen all of it. Yeah, so this is all your stuff. You either zoom in, zoom out. If you want to read it yourself, it feels, what's kind of funny is it's kind of similar to as we were kind of talking about earlier, the Marvel Unlimited sort of situation, with the zoom in, zoom out on your phone, you know, you double tap and it zooms in on like key panels and stuff. However, for this instance, I am going to be zoomed out. So yeah, we'll take just let's go through a few pages together.
Amazing Spider-Man number 238, The Shadow of Evil's Past. In the heart of Manhattan, Peter Parker stands witness as his Aunt May and her friend, Nathan Lubensky, sign a ream of insurance papers, allowing her to officially operate her own boarding house for senior citizens. Peter wonders to himself what her tenants would say if they knew they were living in the house where Spider-Man came of age.
Alright, so kind of see, it's funny how it's just a few sheets of paper can change the way people look at things. Aunt May's boarding house for senior citizens has been operating for nearly a week, but the state of New York's tax people won't recognize her as a special status landlady until she finishes signing those forms. Gee, my aunt, the businesswoman. Oh, and see, it's got, yeah. I wonder what her tenants would know if they were living. Yep, if they were living in the same house where Spider-Man came of age. So it's not one-to-one narration, I don't believe, for any of this. It's just like general narration. So you do still have to read everything yourself.
Staring out into the street, Peter's thoughts drift back to the days when he was being raised by both his aunt and his Uncle Ben. But Ben was killed when Spider-Man failed to stop a burglar, the criminal who later would rob Ben Parker of his life. He consoles himself with thoughts of his aunt's newfound romance with Nathan.
So yeah, kind of like generally summarizes what's going on, but there's some cool features here. It was a good house, a good place to grow up. Aunt May and Uncle Ben were the only family I ever knew sometimes. I thought they were the only people in the world who cared about me. Oh, sometimes. Huh? I'm not great at reading. Good old Uncle Ben. One of the finest men who'd ever lived. And he died because of me. Because I failed to act as Spider-Man, a burglar was free to roam the streets and end the life of the man who was like a father to me. You should be able to use the Heary guy. Maybe you gotta be zoomed out. Oh, there we go. Okay. So you have some sound effects built in here. Ben's death hit May pretty hard. I never thought there'd ever be another man in her life. But then there aren't many men like Nathan Lubensky.
Right after I got my powers, I figured I'd learn some quick bucks wrestling. I made the costume so nobody would recognize me. Hey! Help! Grab him! Don't let him get away! Hey, sorry, pal. I'm a wrestler, not a cop. Why should I get involved? The police were at Aunt May's. Someone had broken in.
Bad news for you, son.
My Uncle Ben tried to stop him, but the guy was armed. The cop told me the one who did it had been chased to a warehouse, and whoever it was, I wanted him first. And I got him, too. It was the crook from the arena. The one I should have stopped, but I didn't. I had the power and I didn't use it. I lost my uncle because I ignored my responsibilities. He always used to tell me, with great power comes great responsibility.
Alright, and then it kind of jumps us back. He's been mighty good to my aunt. He dipped into his own savings to help her fix the old homestead and convert it into a boarding house. I hope they can make a go of it. They worked so hard. Peter, look alive, son. I need you to countersign? Need you to countersign the insurance papers. No, Uh, sure thing, Nate. I guess my mind wandered. Don't apologize, son. The old world could use a few more dreamers.
Outside the office, Peter and his companions make their way to celebrate at a local restaurant. But their joy is short-lived as Peter's spider sense goes into overdrive. A speeding car bursts out of an alleyway. Only Peter's astonishing reflexes saves the lives of his loved ones. Angered, Peter rushes off.
Alright, so yeah, this is kind of generally the flow of how this operates. And then again, you can see another one of these, where I think this explains the spider sense. You get another sound effect here for the car. Which is kind of cool. And so yeah, I think the ideal way to probably view this thing, if you don't blow up the screen, you could probably blow up this, you can make the screen even larger, but the ideal way probably is to do it this way and then scroll. So yeah, that's more or less this. So yeah, give me a minute to do the outro for this video. I'll see you behind the counter. Yeah, probably.
And that is the Spider-Man Interactive CD-ROM comic book issue number 1. A couple things I wanted to note that either I sort of got wrong in the beginning before I booted it up, or kind of like forgot to show off while I was kind of looking through it. There is a sort of there is an animated guide to how to use the CD-ROM, voiced, by Christopher Daniel Barnes, that I will play at the end here. When I was showing this off, I didn't realize that's what the guide option was. I thought it was a different option I had already looked at, which kind of just explains the comic book buttons. So I will play that at the end here. You can also check it out on Fudge Budger's YouTube channel. He's gone pretty in depth with this thing, so anything that you want to kind of have a better look at, check out his channel, because I know, like it kind of noted in the video, I didn't realize how low I turned the volume on everything. The second thing is, initially I thought it was also kind of voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes. As you may have been able to tell when I was kind of showing it off, he just does the kind of narration for every page, and it's not like one-to-one with what's actually like printed in the comic book, but it does really give you like a general sense of like what's going on in each page. And the third thing is that, yes, the comic book is the first appearance of the Hobgoblin. However, it does make note of another issue in here, and the way that it works is that while you are reading it, and it's kind of neat, while you are reading it, it references the death of Norman Osborn. I think it's the issue where Norman Osborn dies, and if you like hit this little icon, it actually opens up that issue of Amazing Spider-Man, and then you can like read it, and it has like narration and everything, just like the kind of like main issue. So I discovered that that's what the second issue is. That's what I think it's referring to when it talks about a back issue reference. I think that's what it's maybe referring to. And the other thing I wanted to note about the trivia is the trivia does seem to be related to the Hobgoblin issue. As I haven't read through the entire thing yet. I kind of read through a little bit kind of by myself, not for the video, and some of the questions that I had kind of been getting wrong when I was like futzing about with it are things that are shown off like in the comic book almost like immediately. So it does seem to be related to the Hobgoblin issue. I don't know about if it touches on the other included issue. But yeah, that's about all. That's it. That's all I kind of wanted to add at the end here. I got it back in the case, so it still displays pretty nice if you can kind of like weasel it out of the inner casing. It still looks pretty good. I still might buy an unopened one just for funsies to have. But yeah, I will upload. I actually have to now take it out so that I can upload the files. But I will upload the files so that you guys can try and check this out for yourself if you would like. And like I kind of said at the start of the video, I can make a tutorial on how to get DOSBox kind of up and running, but there are plenty of tutorials, good tutorials here on YouTube to check out that will suffice. Like I said, there's the other program that I had mentioned before that you can use if you're not worried about the QuickTime kind of videos not playing. Yeah, that's really about it. It's cool, it's neat, it's kind of fun. It definitely takes longer to read a comic book this way, because if you're trying to engage with all like kind of the linked sounds and things, the linked sounds can be a bit finicky. You kind of have to almost be zoomed in to get some of them to play right, or maybe it's zoomed out to get some of them to play right. I just know that some of them are kind of the little button links could be kind of finicky when I was going through it on my own. But it is cool. It's cool just to hear Christopher Daniel Barnes kind of like narrating this like Spidey comic. But it is pretty neat. For how much it is, if you want to go through the effort of like getting it to work, which can either be a lot, like a decent amount of effort, or very, very little, for the amount of money that you can get these for, I think last time I double checked, they were around like $10 to $15. It's pretty cool. Like I said though, you have to have a CD drive, which a lot of like computers are not being manufactured with anymore. So like that's an extra cost, and that's going to be at least like $20. And then you're going to have to go through kind of like the work of getting it to work. So it really depends. I think if you were like born in the 90s, you don't mind doing a little bit of work, and you have a disk drive already, then like, yeah, it's a cool, cheap kind of like little find to play around with. I think if you don't have a disk drive and you don't have a reason to buy an external disk drive, then you can skip it. It's cool, it's neat, but you might as well just like watch Fudge Budger's video of him kind of going through the whole thing, or leave a comment down below and I will go through the whole thing. I started to, but then I realized how long the video was going to be, so I threw that out. But if you guys want me to, I will go through and read the whole thing in my best Peter Parker impression for you guys if you want to see that. But otherwise, yeah, it's not a bad price. If you don't mind the extra kind of steps and you have kind of the equipment to get it running, then I think awesome, cool. It's a really fun like novelty buy to have. I think if you don't have a disk drive, you don't have a reason to buy a disk drive outside of this, then go ahead and skip it. It's not really worth it. These comics are available on the Marvel Unlimited app for the same price it'll cost you to buy this, and it's less work, and you'll read through it faster. The novelty of Christopher Daniel Barnes doing the narration is cool, but again, it's just the narration, so it's one of those things. But yeah, I would have been super into this, I think, as a kid, especially since I had a very hard time reading. I still don't read very fast, so I think this would have been really cool. And it is kind of a bummer they didn't do anymore, but I can see why they didn't, because like clearly there was a lot of effort put into this, for especially in the 90s, which would have been a very like small market. So it's kind of, I can see why they didn't do another one and why it probably didn't do that like financially that well, just because like again the time period that this was like coming out and things, and with kind of like the install base that you could have like reached was probably just not. Yeah, but it is cool, it is fun, it still displays great, so that I'm very happy about that. I don't feel like I have to buy another one just to have a nice display one. And that's about it. So did you guys have this growing up? I know Fudge Budger said he had this growing up, which is kind of crazy to me because like I didn't know this existed, and it's kind of cool until I saw his video. But yeah, did you have this? What did you think about it as a kid? Did you enjoy it as a kid, or Or were you like me, who might have had Spider-Man on the PC, but then couldn't actually play it because your PC couldn't play it, but you're so obsessed with Spider-Man that you begged to have the PC version for some reason? Let me know down below. Until next time, stay safe out there. Stay cool. It's starting to heat up here in the United States. I don't know why that was weird. Okay. See you guys later. All right. On whatever the next weird novelty thing is I show off.
Here's how you get around the comic strip. By now, you must have gotten to the main menu, where you got to me, your guide. From the main menu, you have a couple of choices. Choose Intro to get a message from Stan Lee. Press Start Comic Book to start reading from the beginning. If you press Go to Page, you'll be able to type in a page number and go right to that page. If you press Trivia, you can play the trivia game. You'll also see a switch labeled VoiceOver On, Off. Switch it over to Off if you want to skip the action summaries of the pages and turn off the sound effects. Finally, the Character Bios button will take you to the biographies, where you'll get the information on all the characters in the comic. Just click on any of their faces to learn more about them. Once you're at a comic page, you use the Next button to go to the next page, and the Previous button to get to the page before. The Zoom In and Zoom Out buttons will make the picture larger or smaller. There are 3 sizes to check out. The small size is good for seeing the whole page at a time. The big size is a good size for reading, and the huge size is for great eye-popping detail. The BIOS button on the control strip will take you to the character information pages. When you get to the character you want, and you decide to go back, you press Done, and you'll get to the main menu of characters. Then press Done again, and you'll get back to the comic page you are on. There's also a Help button on the control strip. Press this to get a summary showing you what buttons do what, in case you forget. Finally, you have your Menu button to get you back to the first main menu screen. You'll see the cursor turn into a hand when you roll the mouse over the comic page in the big-sized page and the huge-sized page. This means you can drag the page around the screen. To drag it, click the mouse somewhere on the page, and with the mouse button down, move the mouse in the direction you want to go. If you move the mouse all the way to the top or bottom of the page and hold it down, the page will scroll automatically. You can also move the page up or down, or in the huge page size, left and right, using the up, down, left and right arrow keys. Meanwhile, keep your eyes peeled for funny symbols on the page. They will appear in selected places throughout the comic. Usually, they will be in the lower left-hand corners of the panels, but sometimes they will be in other spots. You might see an ear, a comic book, or a TV set. Click the mouse twice anywhere in the panels with the symbols. If it's an ear panel, you'll get to hear the action. If it's a TV set, you'll get to see the action with a clip from the TV show. If it's a comic book, it'll take you back through time to another issue of the comic to give you background about the story you're reading. Then you can read the flashback issue just like the main comic, only when you're done, click back and get back to the page you were on before. Of course, when you're done with the comic, you just go back to the main menu and press Quit. Nuff said.